let the room do a little tap there. So.
Kieran Hallett, Craig Ray. You must have been pretty impressed with the fight back in that game 30-0 down. It could have really got away from you.
Yep.
And probably dominated the next 20-25 minutes quite convincingly. So,
yep.
What have the youngsters taken out of this tour?
Yeah, I think moving on from the Lions game last week, one of the things we wanted to challenge the players with, especially the young players, was to show a little bit more fight and a little bit more intent and some character. I think they definitely did that at times. So yeah, like you said, there's periods of the game where we're probably on top and had a bit of momentum. So we're really happy with that. I think where we made a few errors off our own kind of set piece launch. I think we gave them 4 tries when we had the ball as a start point. We know with the group that we have, that's the lessons we have to learn. So some positives in there, but we want to challenge them to be better in those situations as well.
Just overall the tour, I mean, obviously you would have loved to have 2 wins, but in terms of log points coming away with nothing, how disappointed about that?
Yeah, I think regardless of what Leinster team we put together, we're always aiming to win every game. We don't go into a game thinking that we're going to expect to lose. Disappointing not to come away with any points. But internally, we have to look at the kind of the individual development of the players from this tour, and it would be different for each person. That's the job of the coaches, and you have to try and find the positives in situations like this.
Obviously, you guys, do you think it's realistic? Obviously, you guys are now, your fate isn't in your own hands now to finish top of the block.
I'm not sure that's correct, but you probably know that more than I do.
I thought maybe there's top of the block. Maybe I'm not.
I think there's what, four games left, I think, still? I think it's still.
Yeah. So the question is obviously, if you reflect now on the tour, and I suppose you were really back to the ball because you've got to keep the Champions Cup in mind. So is it realistic, do you think, to focus on 2 competitions? You sort of just this isn't such a disaster for you because really it's all about the Champions Cup.
We never want to lose games. That's definitely nothing. Like I said, regardless of what team we put out, we never want to lose games. But I think the reality of trying to win 2 trophies every year, and we do desperately want to win 2 trophies every year. That's always the goal. The reality is, at some sticking points of the season, you're going to have to, make some decisions on selection and definitely not prioritise one over the other. But make some decisions around. Is it really viable to play the same group 5 weekends in a row, when they're all big games? So that's the conversation we have to have and the decision we have to make.
Just on that point, you might end up playing the final if you get to the semi-final. So how important was this to developing this group that could potentially play in the URC games?
Yeah, hugely important. I think even the bigger picture as well. Like you look at trying to think who was here 2 years ago when we had a similar experience. And I think Jamie Osborne is probably the number one. He's in selection mix to play the semi-final next week. So you might not get the immediate development in terms of this year, but down the line, Jamie's in a much better position to deal with those bigger games, having gone through what he went through here 2 years ago.
Kieran, I've noticed a lot of names from the Ireland under 20s have made the final in Cape Town last year on your team sheet, and it was quite pleasing to see that they're coming through. There's a lot of those good players, and they'll be a lot better for this experience too.
Yeah, definitely. And look, the 20s is a great program. The guys that we have in this group, went deep in that tournament, and we're close to winning in the final. And there's a big step from that to the game tonight. And the challenge for us is drip feeding, for want of a better term, but giving them those exposure at the right time. And then making sure they learn the lessons from defeats like this, and understanding that if you want to play for a team like Leinster and you want to win things, it's bloody hard. It's not easy, and you have to learn some lessons along the way, like the boss said last week.
It's tricky with having one squad here and the other one that side.
Mm-hmm.
The guys at home had 2 weeks now prep for your semi. Just how do you manage keeping that momentum you had from winning that big game in the quarters with those guys, but also not having the 2 losses of the tour spill over into the camp there?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I mean, the nature of our squad as a whole is that it is very transient. That group this isn't the only time of year that they're kind of in and out. They're almost split a good chunk of the year. That group goes away in November, they come back a little bit over Christmas, then they're away again for Six Nations. So it's something that internally we're probably more used to than people externally understand. So look, as in the work they're doing back there, Jacques was here till Tuesday. We front loaded the defence messages this week so that he was still here delivering the same as he would normally do. And he just then went on Tuesday. So in terms of the prep they're doing back there, I'm not overly sure. We're just focused on what we're trying to do out here.
Kieran, can you give us a sense of what Jacques brought to Leinster? This year from South Africa, we don't speak to you every week, so give us a sense of what he's done.
I think, look, obviously it's a new defensive system. We're doing a good few things different from there. So there's some technical, tactical stuff within that. But I think the thing that's impressed me the most, if that's what, the opinion you want, is that just from watching the back of the room, the way he instills belief in a team, the mindset he brings, the way he sets the tone from an emotional point of view, I think is really impressive. I think you see that in the Chasing the Sun documentary as well. He's very good at that. I think that's certainly different to maybe how we've done it previously. And he's a really high performing individual, and it's a pleasure to watch him do what he does every week.
Yeah, because I thought that quarterfinal against La Rochelle, just the line speed, the getting up, making another, just the intensity never wavered for 80 minutes. I mean, I don't know if that's different, but it felt a bit different watching from a million miles away.
Yeah, I think there's probably a good few moving parts in that. Obviously, Jacques is one of them. That group obviously has a bit of a history with La Rochelle as well, which probably drives a bit more of that bite. And the group that that played that quarter final, that's lost the last two finals, like they've learned their own lessons. That they're developing as a group and moving along.
Great, folks. Thank you very much, Kieran. Thanks for your time.
Cheers.